Hi everybody, welcome to another erotic adventure with Santa Barbara Wargaming. My name is Michael Delarb. I'm Barachial on the official forums, and I'm a war correspondent for Corvus Belli. I have here, in my hands, Operation Icestorm. Just arrived today, fresh from Spain. I've already torn the guts out of it, but I figured we'd do an actual unboxing video, the re-boxing.
The re-unboxing.
The re-unboxing.
So here we go.
Oh god, it's so tight.
Hence the erotic adventures, huh?
This will look familiar for many of you. Anybody who's ordered from Corvus Belli recognizes these boxes. Open them up. Pewter models, very familiar to everything you've seen. These are exactly like any other Infinity model you've ordered. Made out of metal, in the familiar baggies, multi-part. Nothing beginner or easy assemble about these, which veterans will appreciate. New players are going to have a little more work in store, but
yeah, that's a lot of good high quality pewter right there.
It's a lot of metal. It's a lot of metal. And then this one also comes with the Merc model, the bonus model. This was rumored to be a civilian, but she is in fact, she's a corporate security personnel. She comes with a briefcase submachine gun. And I believe she factors into some of the scenarios that are present within this kit. We'll also make a fantastic civvy or Merc model, objective model, yeah. And may have rules of her own, since she is in fact listed as a mercenary. Here we have the introductory rulebook. For those who are curious, this is a 3rd edition compatible starter set rules.
Oh, I see some of that good artwork.
Some of that good artwork there. So everything in here is compatible with the 3rd edition rule set. Like any starter rule set, it's going to be a little washed down, a little watered down. I've already been through here, but it does confirm a lot of the rumors that we've been hearing about what's going to be different in 3rd edition compared to the existing system. Things like combat camouflage surprise attack being dropped in favor of a modifier. A few of the other things, changes to range bands. Combi rifle and sniper rifle range bands are confirmed change within here, as well as, and this is something that people are going to find particularly interesting, advanced stats, full stat lines for Pan-Oceania, as well as full stat lines for Nomads, and these are not starter set stat lines. We're looking at full kit, full stats, and repricing for a lot of the different units in here. So we're seeing some really interesting stuff. A lot of heavy infantry is becoming 4-4 move now instead of 4-2.
I don't want to actually settle on any of this stuff too much. Sure, I don't know how much of it's been spoiled.
Right.
So I don't want to spoil CB.
Virtually none of this. I'm pretty sure we're actually going to have to wait before we release this, because I'm under specific instructions not to even talk about it until August 1st.
Oh,
so
all right.
That'll be its own thing.
Yeah.
In addition to the nice quick starter rulebook, and the rulebook, it's worth mentioning, scales up extraordinarily well for beginner players. You have scenario number 1, very basic, with 4 models. Then scenario number 2 is slightly more advanced, a few more models, and starts to introduce a few more rules. Things like camouflage and how it works. Then the next scenario will have airborne deployment and how it works. And it continues to scale up until the final scenario, where you're using every model that the starter set contains, as well as all of the rules, things like unconscious, doctor, things that are slightly more advanced.
Sure.
Also included in here is a very nice punch-out token set. Already lost one here. And from this alone, we can already see some of the proposed rule changes here. This in particular refers to the cylinder line of sight system. Every model is now categorized by what its size is, and so this I expect will be common infantry that are going to be the height and the width of this shape, of this size, regardless of what the model actually indicates. Also interesting to see in here is a separate marker for the lieutenant orders.
So that will, I wonder if that means that lieutenant orders won't be as much a shell game as they were in the past?
Right, I think we're going to see a lot less ambiguity as far as who your lieutenant is.
Because you could generally guess in the past who lieutenant was going to be, but not always, and so there was always the kind of, you know,
is he, isn't he?
Is he, isn't he? But as it is now, from the rumors that I had heard, once you get into Lost Lieutenant now, you will have, what is it, all of your troops become a regular?
All of your troops become a regular. Correct.
But somebody else is automatically nominated, so it isn't quite the, you know, 80%, 85% of the time your game's done when your lieutenant's lost, especially if you don't have chain of command or second or something like that.
It's going to, it hinders your game plan to a certain degree because every model is acting on its own.
Sure.
But it's not necessarily the death knell that it was before.
Right, and the lieutenant order that you're given here, it isn't as detrimental if it comes to the everybody becomes a regular. You don't lose an entire turn. It's just, you know, a bit of a handicap.
Yeah, and here's the really interesting stuff.
I really love the let's get a little bit of shot of the thickness of these. You know, they're cardstock.
Yeah.
You know, not Fantasy Flight, but I think that they'll be more than good for use in most games. You know, not just demo starter games, but you know, everybody will be wanting some of these tokens.
And so here we actually have the terrain that comes with the system as a whole. And there's been a lot of ambiguity about how big a play space this actually creates. The rulebook confirms that it creates 24 by 32, and all of the scenarios are configured, specifically configured, to be adapted to that size.
I wonder if 3rd edition is going to be 2x3 then.
There's been some speculation that you could actually take 2 of these boards and put them together and create like a 4x6. And so there's been questions about whether we're going to see future Infinity games moving to a 4x6. That's already a lot of real estate to cover. Some changes to range bands might be more clear, might be less clear based on that. But we're really going to have to wait and see because there's no real indicator of that within this. But there's a lot of terrain in here, and it all folds.
And we were just talking about this yesterday. We were wondering if it was going to be MDF, laser cut, if it was going to be pewter. No, I mean, if the miniatures were going to be pewter, would they actually give us laser cut MDF, or if it would be cardstock like this? And it is the cardstock. It's I think that this is definitely the way to go. It's going to make the acquisition of a few of these Operation Icestorms, you know, basically you'll be able to make a decent-sized urban environment.
You know what the coolest thing is, too, is that these are actually all set to specific sizes, so you can actually break down the box that all of this comes in and use the cardboard to reinforce these to make it stronger and less flimsy, so you don't actually have to worry about putting models on top, because it actually gains a lot of rigidity.
Or if you wanted to, you know, go that extra mile, you can get some you could get some plastic card from your local hobby store, and make these basically the skins of plastic card buildings. And here's the playmat, huh?
The playmat. My understanding too is that
you want to lay it down on the floor real quick so we can get a nice shot.
My understanding is that Corvus Belli is actually going to be selling the terrain kit separately. So it's going to be available for everybody.
Yay, Gen Con.
The playmat is made out of the same material that like a poster would be made out of. So who knows how it's going to stand up well to prolong play, to expose play. But you know, if you take the time to actually flatten it out and maybe do something to laminate it and make it a more durable surface, it does look very good. And that's a very cool,
industrial,
visually striking design. So.
Looks like there might even be some zones for some scenarios.
I haven't browsed the scenarios in depth yet as far as how they actually play, but I do think we're looking at clearly delineated borders that probably have deployment zones as well as different zones for scenarios. So I'd say that we're really doing well as far as the starter set. I mean, this is a big step for Corvus Belli, a fantastic step into sort of the big boy world of being able to compete with the more established companies, and this is incredibly playable, top quality stuff right out of the box. A really good ambassador product for Corvus Belli and for Infinity in general, and I'm happy to be sharing it with you here. This is Michael DeLarve from Santa Barbara Wargaming. Mark Sanders as well, holding the camera, signing off. Thank you.